What's going on, guys? Gio with Level Up Design here. Hope you guys are doing well. Appreciate you tuning in. Today we're going to go over a pretty interesting concept. Well, I guess all the concepts are pretty interesting, right? But this is something you probably, everybody's experienced, right? And I feel like it's something that probably don't realize it until you actually start playing games and after watching this video. But it's basically like almost like a tutorial step that a lot of designers do, or people who are developing games are keeping in mind, and that's 4 principles. So it's introduce, practice, master, and twist.
What a twist!
Go over kind of how that works out into, but basically it's the steps that a designer, level designer, game designer, directors who are working overseeing the project will basically give you guys tutorials without actual tutorials. Basically the steps to try one task. Okay, cool, that's easy, completed. Move on to the next one, a little more challenging, next one a little more challenging, and so on too. So let's go ahead and start with introducing as well, and we'll go a little more in depth with that now. Alright, cool. So this is our first example, and yes, actual Super Mario Bros. I mean, it's just such a classic, right? Everybody's played it, or I would assume most people have played it. And if you haven't, it's pretty good. Here we go! We're starting out level, right? The first world, Super Mario Bros. You're basically just walking along the path, and you meet this little mushroom guy, which is a Goomba, obviously. Funny enough, this Goomba is like notoriously, first time people playing this game, has like the highest death rate.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
No one knows what it is. People see it and assume, oh, okay, just gotta run through it, right? And then they run into it and die, not knowing they have to actually jump on its head to kill it. And even though they had the menacing eyes and everything, it's it could still come across a little misleading. But this is a good example of what introduce is, right? So you're introducing a mechanic, introducing a something for the player to do, right? So what's the easy way to do that? Keep it as simple and as dumbed down as possible. One enemy, what are you gonna do, or what do you have to do? Okay, now I know I got to go and jump on it and it dies, and then I go on and keep on playing the level, right? So they're introducing a mechanic for the player to do, and in them doing the mechanic, they now know, okay, every single time I see a Goomba or this creature, I gotta jump on it to kill it, and then continue playing the level and progress, right? That's pretty much it. That's the introduce part of this video. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next part, which is the practice one. All right, so here we have, again, very similar to the one before, but now instead of being just the one, there's two, right?
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
Practicing said mechanic as before, which is jumping on the head of a Goomba. When you start doing that, you see it coming, you already instinctively know, all right, I gotta do the same thing I did before. Now this time, you instinctively aren't just gonna do one jump and kill both of them. It doesn't work that way. It's practice on jumping on both of them, so that's one thing that you're doing. You're practicing jumping and killing enemies, and then you're practicing the mechanic, right? Being able to just kill the Goombas and keep on progressing. And that's kind of something to keep in mind whenever you're playing a game, right? And you're probably thinking of some right now when you're playing a game right now that you realize, oh wow, yeah, they did like kind of progress something in the story or in the multiplayer or whatever that is a slight introduction to the beginning, right? And like for example, a quest system, right? Usual quest system that you're gonna first do is talk to somebody to go talk to somebody else, right? And when you do that, you talk to one person, boom, quest completed, and I tell you to go to Frank and talk to them. That's an intro, and that's an introduction, and then you start practicing because now you're doing a fetch quest to go talk to somebody else, and then eventually one of those quests can become kill somebody, and then after that, you get further down the line, you get the more complicated, kill 3 of these, collect their stuff, and then go turn it in to make a weapon, and blah 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 blah, right, etc. We're gonna go into the next one now, which is same concept, but it's gonna be basically the twist aspect of it. Normally mastery is next, but I would want to show the twist and show you kind of how that looks in this scenario. So we'll check that out right now. All right, so here's our example of twist, and the reason why the word twist is there is because basically what you do is you have you introduce a mechanic, right? So in this case, we introduce jumping on the Goomba's head to kill it. Okay, cool. Practicing. All right, now instead of one Goomba, you got to worry about there's 2. Okay, cool. Jump on one, jump on the other, move on the next one. Now when it comes to the twist one, twist is more like you are combining one mechanic with another, sometimes multiple mechanics together to show that you have other ways of solving a problem, right? So in this case, they have a green shell. It was already introduced. They're practicing it now, or maybe this is the first time introducing it, and they just happen to leave one there, and you hit it, and you see that the Goomba shell goes across and hits the Goombas and kills them. So that's tying into the mechanic as well, right? Same thing with like the hammer throwing Goombas, right? You know, this guy here. He throws hammers, right? It's a kind of a twist on it because, yes, is it a Goomba? Sure. But it's a little more complicated because he throws hammers, he'll jump down to the next level, throw hammers, jump up, repeat, and now you gotta find a way to get rid of him, right? You either jump on his head, maybe get a shell, throw it at him, however you gotta do that. But twisting is usually combining multiple mechanics into one to make it a more like engaging experience, right? And there's a lot of games that do that. I mean, I know that, for example, if you're doing combat, right? You know, for example, Batman. I think Dark Asylum is the one I played, if I'm not mistaken. You have combat, right? Combos, get that done, cool. But then in the middle of your combo, you could, as you level up and get more experience, you use other stuff in between to get rid of your enemies. You know, you have like that explosive gel that you use, you have batarangs that you throw. You could start using your grappling hook to pull people in or get rid of their weapons. It's same thing, right? You're tying multiple mechanics together to make that combat experience more rewarding, more engaging, more stimulating, whatever word you want to use. Now let's move on to the mastery one, which is you're gonna see it. it's pretty interesting. Let's check that out now. So obviously not original Super Mario Bros, unfortunately, but this is just kind of an example of mastery is, right? Overall mastery is just at this point they're a pro, right? They know how to jump on Goombas, they know how to kill them. Now it's to the point of just elevating that experience, right? So now you still jump on Goombas, cool, but then you have these bigger ones that you jump on maybe multiple times, and then you break into smaller parts. That's a mastery of it. You know exactly what to expect, but now there's add a little like flair to it at the end, or a twist. All right, you could use that too. You have other Goombas that have like a spike on their head that you can't jump on, or you actually have to use something else to get rid of them, which is the shell, or if you have the fire flower, you could use that too. You know, we have introducing red shell Koopas, green shell Koopas to basically elevate that experience. So mastery, all in all, is just a elevated experience of that mechanic. And it could expand into a lot of different ways. You know, you could make it just a bigger enemy like they did here. You can make the enemies on fire. You can make it an enemy that you can't even kill. It's just an obstacle, but you gotta avoid it, because if not, they could kill you, right? So that's again the four like main kind of discussions when you're creating a mechanic, right? Using that mechanic to elevate an experience. So you have first one, the introducing is just base tutorial of how certain mechanic works, so the player could kind of get a understanding of how to use that, whether it's an ability or simple jumping, maneuvering, whatever. Then you have practice is using that said mechanic and another little more elevated experience, as in, you know, if you have one enemy to kill with stealth mechanics, you're gonna have now two of them that are roaming around, and you gotta try and avoid them or get rid of them, right? Then you have twist. With twist is you just combine that mechanic with something else. So we're using the stealth example, right? You have a stealth example. You're walking, you have two enemies, they're roaming, you gotta get rid of them or go around them. And then maybe you have dogs, right? Dogs that they could detect you if you get too close. So that adds a little extra flair and twist to it, which kind of ties into the last one, which is mastery. Mastery is one where you are a pro at this point in using stealth. So now what it is exactly that they could do to add more flair to. So we have roaming enemies, you have dogs that can detect you. Maybe now it's more enemies, right? To make that actual mechanic seem more difficult. It could be you know, bots, it could be sound. You know, if you have maybe walk on glass or something breaks, that enemies are going to come and explore that and see what made that racket, and you know, it gives you an opportunity to, oh man, panic and try and hide or get rid of them or whatever, right? So hopefully that was informative for you guys. Again, if you do enjoy the video, like, follow, subscribe, check me out on Twitch. Again, streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and have a good rest of your day. See you in the next one.